Hey guys, it's Danny. Today, you will never guess what we're gonna do. Well, you will because of the title. But anyway, we are going to repot this pretty root-bound Oncidium orchid. And this is the wonderful Oncidium Tiny Twinkle, which I told you guys we will repot together because it's gonna be quite a chore, you're gonna see. But I do wanna give you a few tips that I have whenever you deal with an orchid that has a ton of roots. Now, if you want to see a video on this orchid, which by the way is a fabulous orchid, check the description down below. It can bloom with a massive bloom show. It has very tiny little flowers that are produced in great numbers. Oops, I forgot to close the window. How dare I disturb the noise of this neighborhood with my video. Bottom line, I think this is an orchid that you should have if you really like tiny flowered orchids. It's an Oncidium. It takes general Oncidium care, very easy to grow in my opinion, especially if you don't live in very hot climates like I do. But if I can pull it off, I think you can too. Downside with this orchid is, it's one of those very big root producers. And as beautiful and easy to care for as it is, when it comes to repotting, it's really not ideal. I'm not looking forward for this procedure. That's why I'm filming it, so I have you guys as moral support. Because you will see, it's not pretty, but we're gonna try to make the best of it. So before we start, don't forget to give this video a like if you end up enjoying it, and why not subscribe? I post multiple times a week and it's completely free. But if you're feeling extra about it, do consider further supporting my channel by becoming a member, checking out the affiliate links down below in the description, checking out the merch, or using the super thanks option down below. And thank you so much for those of you who are supporting me. It's never necessary, but it's always very appreciated. Right, let's get to work. I need gloves. Where are my gloves? Oh, by the way, you guys, do you know, in just a few days, we shall be celebrating the 10-year anniversary of my YouTube channel. Oh my goodness, yes. My first video ever was posted in April of 2013, and I have been posting consistently since then. And yeah, you just wait and see. We're gonna have a special video for that occasion. It will be the end of an era. Let me tell you that. At least that's the plan. We'll see if it works out. But yeah, don't miss Monday's video. I think Monday is the 3rd of April. Yeah, that's when my anniversary is. Right, and getting back to the video, we're getting sidetracked as always. So first thing that I did was I soaked the orchid. So as you know, I like to keep my orchids in decorative pots. They serve multiple purposes, not only looking pretty and making sure my orchid stays a little bit more moist, but also when I want to soak them, I can easily do so by putting water in this pot to the rim of the actual plastic pot inside and leaving it there for 15 minutes or so. And that's usually enough to completely soak the root system and make it a little bit more flexible. And that's exactly what I did. Will it help a lot? Arguably. We're still gonna break a lot of roots, so be prepared for that. And to make sure that I don't have roots stuck to the plastic, I'm just squeezing a little on the plastic. I'm not going overboard. These roots detach really easy. So now I'm pulling up, and I didn't show you. I am trying to grab the last pseudobulb, the oldest pseudobulb, just in case it breaks. If this breaks, it's fine. Never grab the orchid by the leaves and pull, because the leaves are very fragile in comparison to the pseudobulbs, which are connected to the rhizome, which travels along the orchid. So if I pull on a pseudobulb, and ideally from the base of a pseudobulb, I'm actually dragging the entire rhizome that holds the entire orchid. So that's what I'm doing. Easy peasy. It wasn't a big deal to remove it from the pot. Roots don't really stick to plastic all that much. And I didn't really have many roots outside the drainage holes or ventilation holes, so that's good. But now comes the fun part, removing the medium. The moss can still go, but the bark needs replacing. I'm not using a very high quality bark. I'm using one that is destined for reptiles and terrariums, but it's affordable enough. I don't need to order it. I don't need to import it, pay transport, all that stuff that I try to avoid. I buy it locally, but it's not the best quality, and it usually breaks down faster than the sphagnum moss. Imagine that. So the most annoying part is now when I need to remove this medium. So I always start from the bottom, because here you will see we're gonna have a hollow directly in the center of the root system. The roots will always concentrate to the sides as they grow, let's say, away from the orchid. That's how they will grow naturally. they will concentrate on the sides, not necessarily in the middle. So it's a good place for me to start. It's an easy place to try and like massage a little the roots. That's always sounding funny, but that's exactly what I do. Trying to gently remove all of this medium from the roots, starting from the center, because this is where I have space. Sometimes you won't have this space in the center, and in that instance, I actually break a layer of roots here at the bottom, and it's fine. They're usually older roots. Another tip that I have, if you actually like bark and your orchids do great in bark, when it comes to oncidiums, I would encourage you to use smaller grade bark. Smaller grade bark is actually much easier to remove from the root system because there's much less surface for the root to attach to. So imagine, this is the piece of bark. Let me put it against something lighter colored. So this is a piece of bark. Imagine using big chunks of bark. There will be a lot of that surface for the root to attach to. The more the root is attached, the longer the surface actually, the more you're gonna damage roots when it comes to repotting. And it's also good for oncidiums that do prefer a little bit more water because it tends to retain smaller air pockets. So it does tend to stay a little bit more moist than big chunks of bark. Alrighty, so I'm just gonna speed things up. We're gonna come back when I'm done with this massage situation that I'm doing here, and we're going to address the dead root system in the middle. Alright, so I kind of removed most of the medium just using this motion because I don't really care what happens to the roots in the back. They're the older roots. They're gonna be lost pretty soon. I'm more concerned about the front of the orchid. We can see we already have some new growth on this orchid, which is, it started to produce roots. They're very tiny though. In the front, you will always have the newest roots, and they should be the priority, not the older roots. It is very likely that the older roots will just not make this repotting anyway. We are going to remove them. But in the front, I want to keep things as safe as possible. So to remove the pieces of bark or sphagnum moss that I still have here, I like to use tweezers. I also like to comb through the roots a little bit. This is a very good way of removing sphagnum moss as well. But when I see big pieces of bark, I know that if I would try to remove them with my finger, I would just break the roots because my fingers are pretty thick in comparison to the roots of these orchids, which are generally pretty thin. So I take my time with a pair of tweezers and just remove all of these pieces. But it can be a therapeutic thing. It can make you relax. It's a little like sewing or, things of sorts. It could actually be good ASMR if I didn't have all of these neighborhood sounds. It's the main reason why I use music over my videos. If I could do just ASMR videos, I would because I love them. But no, it's too noisy here for that. And the music actually masks a lot of the noises, like random people yelling or saying things. And sometimes they don't say nice things. And if you understand Greek, I don't want people swearing in my videos. So I try to mask things with the music. And I think it works pretty well. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean all of these last bits as best as possible. Gonna clean my table and come back with the root situation. We need to remove some of these roots. Alrighty, so I am pretty much done with cleaning up the root system. Now comes the pretty scary part. We need to remove some of these roots. First of all, we need a tool that cuts very well, and we need to sanitize it a little bit. I'm using some rubbing alcohol. Somebody commented that 70% solution actually does a better job than 96% solution, and they were right. Thank you for the tip. Now I'm using 70% alcohol, and what we're gonna do is go in the back. On my orchid, the back and middle seem to be quite old, and I have a lot of dead roots here. If I pull on them, they leave behind a string, so they need removing. But I'm not gonna go and follow individually each one of them and cut it from the base. No, we're gonna do chop chop on quite a lot of them because I've already spent, almost about an hour ever since I started this video. No joke, it's enough. So what I'm gonna do is, first of all, get all of the roots from this older pseudobulb, identify them, and chop all of them off. None of them are alive anymore. Right, so let's see. And in this way, we are actually clearing up some space, and I can remove further some medium. Yeah, No, they're not alive anymore. Now, I understand if you are reluctant to do this, and that's absolutely fine. You really shouldn't go ahead and do blindly whatever you see random people on the internet do. If you're not comfortable with this, do not do it. I do it because I have a lot of experience with Oncidiums. I know what's next, but you might not know. So if you feel like you want to make sure that each root is actually not alive anymore, then go ahead and take your time and do that. I've been through it. I did that. I spent hours of my life trying to clean up root systems of Oncidiums, and I'm over it. Because I know what's gonna happen. Even if I leave on all the roots that are still alive anymore, they're not gonna make the repotting. And in 2 months, gonna have a stinky pot and my orchid will dehydrate even though I left on a bunch of roots. Why does it dehydrate? Why does it shrink or shrivel? Well, because those roots didn't make the repot and you have a whole bunch of dead roots in the pot. That's exactly what's gonna happen. So I don't wanna have all of those roots in the pot. What I need are just a few roots that are actually good and alive. A little bit of wrinkling is to be expected. It's absolutely fine, and it's gonna happen even if you leave a mass of roots behind. But again, if you don't feel comfortable and if you are not sure that that's exactly what's gonna happen, don't do this. And, go through the experience and see how your orchid will do. All right, I have quite a few dead roots here on the side as well. They're mixed in with the good roots, But I'd rather remove some good roots than leave behind a lot of dead roots. Look at this. You would say, oh, this is a perfectly good root. No. Do you see how the vellum came off? That's a dead root. It's easy to follow. But already I have a lot more space here and I can see better what roots are alive and what roots are not. A brand new root system will soon grow and there are already a lot of root tips here. So I'm not worried about all of these potentially good roots that I'm cutting. They're just gonna be replaced. Oh, you wanna know, when I repotted this last, when it grew all of this amount of roots, does it wanna focus? February 22. It grew most of these roots in 1 year, so no worries. This is a very strong orchid. And ideally, I wouldn't want to repot my Oncidiums every year, but that bark was just not good anymore. And generally, Oncidiums do require more watering, which degrades the potting mix faster. You know what? I think I'm good with what I have here. I'm gonna get rid of all of these and come back with the pot. And I'm going to be using a self-watering pot for this orchid. So I'll be using this self-watering pot. This is a RepotMe one. We saw it last video. They sent it to me to try out. It's a new product. And I think this orchid is perfect for this pot. And I will also be using sphagnum moss. And I think this will make sure my orchid is not gonna get dehydrated. Again, I've been really struggling to keep this orchid hydrated. Now, the potting mix and the choice of pot is entirely yours. In some environments, you will not get away with full sphagnum moss in a self-watering pot, but in very hot environments, this can actually be such a great setup. So just use whatever setup you like best. You can go for bark, smaller grade bark. I think that's a good medium to start with if you don't have any experience with Oncidiums. The rule applies, it's better to stay on the drier side than to suffocate the roots. So you need to start from somewhere, and the easiest medium to, let's say, control is bark chips. And from there on, you can see if you can go with a lot more moisture or if it works out just fine. For me, it's full moisture. I'm going all out with my setups, especially for faster growing orchids and those that create a lot of roots. Also, if you've never used sphagnum moss and you want to learn how to use it the right way so that you don't actually have issues, check the video in the description. I do have a dedicated video highlighting the best practices with sphagnum moss. But again, even with best practices, if your environment is simply not warm enough and it's rather cool or rather humid, sphagnum moss might be trickier to use and you might have to opt for more airy pots and things of the sorts. Alrighty, so I think that is about it. It did take up quite a bit. It's very fluffy, but yeah, it took up more sphagnum moss than my pots usually do. It's okay. So I need to keep it quite airy. The job is done. I'm gonna continue with a top layer of bark. I'm using top layers of bark to prevent cyanobacteria from forming on top of the sphagnum moss, which happens a lot here. It's easy to remove if it degrades. So yeah, ideally, you would want to keep an orchid in the same potting mix for at least 2 years or so. The wetter the environment, the faster the potting mix degrades, but this sphagnum moss actually can last a while. Alrighty, so you know what? I'm pretty much done. Let's use up all of these bits of bark so we don't waste them. They're good bits. They shade the sphagnum moss. But we are pretty much done. Now, I will give this orchid a little bit of watering because my sphagnum moss is in between dry and damp. It's a little bit dry. I prefer to store it dry and not dampen it too much because if I wet it, it's gonna accumulate algae. My drawers are transparent, but you know what? I might consider painting them. So they're transparent, so if I keep this wet at all times, it's just gonna be a cyanobacteria farm, really. Even if it doesn't have fertilizer. Yeah, no, ooh, there you go. It's already happening. Look at this. Look on the sides. Do you see that greenery in the corner? Oh my goodness, you know what? I'm gonna paint these shelves. Oh no. And this was just wet while I decompressed it from that brick. So imagine keeping it wet. No, not a good idea at all. I had to wet a little bit of it today to use it. I know a few of you asked me how I store my moss. As much as possible dry, and now that I saw what's happening in there, I didn't repot in a long time. So it's been sitting there for a while. Now that I see that algae forming there, or cyano, I'm gonna paint the shelves. But as much as possible dry because you're preventing breaking down, preventing molds or algae or stuff from accumulating. So one thing that I will do is pour just a little bit of water, just enough to have a little bit of water in the reservoir. I will maintain a bigger level of water in the summertime. Now it's not necessary. I can use this as a normal pot and not have water in the reservoir and just use the reservoir whenever I need it. So yes, that is about it. You have links to this product in the description if you're interested, but as I was saying, the setup is your choice. You can go through the very same steps that I did with this orchid today and pot it in whatever medium you prefer, whatever type of pot you like best. You can find this orchid for sale even in flower shops, by the way. It does appear in flower shops from time to time, but also in orchid nurseries. It is in bloom usually in springtime, but I've had the off blooming here and there off season as well. Whenever a pseudobulb matures, that's when it's gonna bloom. It does seem to stick to the spring blooming schedule. Alrighty, so it is time to go. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed hanging out with me today. Stay tuned for the anniversary video. It is time to go now. It's been an hour and a half. There is work to be done and food to be made. I'll see you all next time. Bye.